All right, what's going on, guys? It's Vince, and we are back for another ramble. It's been, I think, about 2 weeks since we did our last one on the stackable clues, which has been great so far. Been really enjoying that one. But today we have another summer sweep up, which is fantastic. We're right, basically in the heart of summer. It's July 19th as I'm recording this, but this came out yesterday on July 18th. But we have Slayer and Miscellaneous, so we're gonna jump right into things and we're gonna see what they're cooking. So it's gonna be a pretty good blog post here. We're back with more of the summer sweep up. This time, we're revisiting that dedicated Slayer quality of life banner from our RuneFest roadmap and bring you a handful of other tweaks too. Lovely, lovely. They got a nice promotional image here. Looking for combat and PvM changes? That was the first summer sweep up blog. You might also want to check out the separate update which dealt with Tombs of Amasket loot changes. Yes, we did. Today, though, we're kicking things off with a fan favorite Slayer. So this should be pretty good, pretty big changes here. Once you get to grips with Slayer, you'll unlock access to great training methods, lucrative loot tables, and exclusive bosses. But if you've ever introduced a friend to this iconic skill, you'll know that actually understanding it is half the battle. Today's changes fix some long-standing issues with Slayer. We're giving you more flexibility when setting up your tasks and more time to actually slay things instead of scheming up ways to scam Turiel. Yeah. So this is obviously referring to Turiel skipping. It's going to introduce different ways of actually getting the tasks instead of having to just go through Turiel skipping and other blocking methods to get what you want. So first we have block list changes. Ever since Crystalia arrived, players have been begging for a wilderness-specific block list. Who can blame them? It's laborious, time-consuming, and expensive to rejig your block list every time you want to dabble in Wilderness Slayer and then swap back to regular Slayer afterwards. Yeah, that's definitely needed. That should have honestly just been a thing on release, but we've been unable to deliver this in the past because it's proved too technically challenging. So I mean, at that point, like I don't know. Like it's fine that Slayer's out for the wilderness, but they definitely should have done that on release, in my opinion, and figured out a way to do it on release. But now we have the technology, and we want to go even bigger. Give every Slayer master their very own block list. That's insane, to be honest. That's a big change. And honestly, like when you're at the end game and you're just using Duradel and Crystalia, that like even just having two separate block lists for them is going to be really interesting to see what we have to work with. You won't need to unset and reset your blocks as you progress, and you'll be able to optimize your block list to achieve different goals. A Turiel block list that gets rid of nuisance tasks while you're boosting points, a Duradel block list set up for the best XP per hour, a Neve list for maximum Inferno tasks, the world's your oyster. Yeah, this is, dare I say, almost not even Slayer in a way. I mean, the fact that you essentially can just block all the shit tasks from each master means that each master or whatever you want to do or feel like doing, you're basically going to have very quick time doing and getting the task that you want. So it almost doesn't feel like Slayer. Like I almost feel like you would be fine with just Wilderness and regular Slayer. Not that I'm complaining. I mean, this is going to be fantastic, but won't this mean you're throwing points away? No. As of this update, different Slayer masters will have different prices for blocks. So, and we see it goes all the way from 40 points for Turiel up to 100 for Duradel and Crystalia. When these changes go live, your current block list will be reset, and any points spent will be refunded. Well, that's pretty fun. You could actually spend it on something else if you wanted to. If you're cringing at the thought of having to set up the entire list again while waiting for the worst tasks to pop up, think again. We're also doing a Slayer Master UI refresh. So this is really interesting. This list shows every NPC a Slayer Master can assign, the quantity that can be assigned, and the percent chance of you being assigned it with your current unlock setup, and a tick box to show whether a task is able to be assigned, not unlocked, or blocked. Going forward, every Slayer Master will be able to show you which tasks they can currently assign, the percent chance of them assigning, and the quantity of each monsters you might be asked to slay on each task. Best of all, you'll be able to block all the tasks you want from the same interface without having to wait to receive the task. If you really like doing things the old-fashioned way, you can still wait and block. It's up to you. So this is really interesting because now you can, as long as you have the points, you can actually set this up prior, well, I'm sorry, prior to even getting the task. So like, even now, go farm Slayer points in prep for this update. Like, go get like 1,000 points, 2,000 points, 3,000 points. I know it's gonna be a pain in the ass, but when this comes out and you can just set up your block lists like from release, it's gonna be really nice to be like, okay, I want to block, you know, this, and this from Duradel. I want to block these from Crystalia and block all these from QoL Slayer. Like, you can prep for that now. So I mean, this isn't out yet. It's gonna come later this summer. It says at the bottom, but you definitely can start preparing for this by just like working on getting Slayer points. Next, we have early game point changes. One of the issues facing new Slayers is that Slayer points can be hard to come by if you're engaging with the skill as intended. No new player wants to hear that task sucks. What you should do is 49 Turiel tasks, killing rats and birds, then a Kodar task, then do that again 5 times, and then you can start playing. Yeah, I mean, it's early Slayer is really, really bad because you're either killing really bad tasks or you're Turiel skipping just for eternity until you get out of the early game. So we're counteracting this by giving Mazkna and Vanica a little nudge. Slayer points aren't exactly a precious resource, and we reckon these two are being a little stingy when it comes to appropriately rewarding new players. Currently, Mazkna gives 2 points per task, and Vanica gives 4 points per task. Here's what we're suggesting instead. And you can see it's going to be 6 points per task for Mazkna, and Vanica gives 8 points per task. So triple and double. And then every 10th, 50th, 100, 250, and 1,000 tasks, you can see it increases the points from what it was before. We're not expecting players to spend too long with either of these Slayer Masters, but this change should mean they're able to skip or block a task from time to time without spoiling their overall progression. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, putting a little bit more Slayer points in there is not a bad idea, in my opinion. Next, we have unlock point costs. Outside of skipping and blocking tasks, you've also got the option to extend them, unlock new tasks, add some quality of life improvements to existing tasks, or unlock new features like superior Slayer creatures. We're making progression a bit more sensible. We're going to reduce the bigger and badder from 150 to 50 points. There's a lot of lower level Slayer monsters with superior variants, but by the time most players unlock this perk, they're well past these and skip them entirely unless they wind up Turiel skipping in the future. Task storage, this is huge. From 1,000 down to 500 points. This system's pretty cool, but only sees niche usage. We're hoping that bumping the initial unlock cost down and refunding you the difference if you've already purchased this should make it a more appealing unlock. Next, we're going to also reduce the ring bling from 300 to 150 points. There are so many higher priority unlocks early on that this one gets deprioritized, and by the time you have enough spare points to consider it, it's barely even worth the unlock. And last but not least, we have Slug, Salter, and Reptile Freezer reduced to 10 points. These cost far too many points for where they're actually relevant, especially considering how minor their impact is. So yeah, basically it's just making being able to unlock stuff faster, but also just getting the points faster. Like, it's just making Slayer feel better. And like, Slayers already are very much an enjoyed skill, excuse me. But being able to do it this way it's just gonna make the whole thing feel better, especially for early game players. And with a lot of players coming in, especially from like WoW and just a lot of new players that we have right now in general, like, I feel like this is a really good change. A lot of really good changes, to be honest. We initially considered task unlocks like Lizardmen or AVNCs free to toggle, but we're still on the fence. I don't think they should be free to toggle. Mostly we're concerned about encouraging unfun gameplay loops where players are sat around toggling things in the UI to try and game the chance for a better task. We could circumvent this problem with a reduced cost to toggle something on or off after the initial unlock. But we want to hear your thoughts before we move forward. Yeah, I don't think being able to toggle certain ones on or off is the best thing in the world. Like, free to toggle it on and off. Like I think it's fine that it just costs the points. It's not too big a deal. You toggle it on while you need it, and then you toggle it off when you're done. Like if you ever want to go back, it's you tutorial skip for a little bit and you're good. Next we have dragon tasks. I actually went a little too far there. This is really good and pretty cool. As part of Project Rebalance last year, we removed dragons from the task lists of some early game Slayer Masters, which was well received. The problem is that even later in the game, there are so many types of dragon tasks that they still crop up more often than some of you would like. While we think blue dragon tasks have their place, either for irons banking prayer XP or players wanting to fight Vorkath, or both, and black dragon tasks are a quick couple of points at the baby black dragons in Taverley, metal dragons are a different beast entirely. We'd like to combine bronze, iron, steel, mithril, adamant, and rune dragons into a single, quote, metal dragons task. We'd also bump the default quantity to 20 to 40 and let you extend metal dragon tasks up to between 150 and 200. This means, in theory, you could slay 200 rune dragons at a time if you'd like. The weightings of existing tasks would be combined into metal dragon tasks, but a little lower than the sum of their parts, meaning you'd see better tasks more often. Ultimately, this means that rather than having multiple feels bad skip tasks, you'd wind up with just the one, or you can block them out entirely if you'd like. It's worth noting that with some of the defense changes outlined in the first summer sweep up blog, they'll likely be a little more appealing than they currently are, so maybe give a task or two a go before blocking them forever. If you paid for something like I Hope You Myth Me, then we'll be able to refund you the points, and all of your blocks are getting reset anyway, so you can tweak those to your liking. Yeah, so this was a really cool idea in my eyes. I think some of the dragon tasks are a lot of fun. Namely, if I get like a blue dragon task, I'll go kill Vorkath for a little bit. Or you can just do the whole task if you're really feeling up to it. And the black dragon task, if you enjoy killing KBD for like a pet chance or the visage, that's there as well. But when it comes to metal, there's just so many that I feel are very irrelevant. But when you combine them all into one single sort of metal dragons like bundle, it kind of allows for early game to progress up to like the late game. So like maybe at the start, maybe you do kill a few bronze dragons because of the summer sweep up changes and the weaknesses that they now have. Maybe you kill some bronze and iron ones, and maybe later on you move up to steel. But for some of the players that are in like the mid to late game or like even end game, like mithril dragons drop chewed bones. So how cool would it be if you get a metal dragon task and you get maybe let's say 160 of them because you extended them, and now I can go and kill metal dragons, or excuse me, mithril dragons on task and work on getting those chewed bones to go for a dragon full helm as an Iron Man. And then maybe you want to go for a visage instead of a dragon full helm, and you go and kill 200 rune dragons, and you can work on starting to get that visage drop as well. It's pretty cool. It just gives you a little bit more options, and then even with like blocking them, you don't have to block like iron and steel and adamant, because you don't want to do those, and it takes up 3 spots on your block list. You can just block metal dragons if you don't want to do them. So this is really cool. I think it probably should have been like that for a long time, and honestly probably could have been revisited sooner than now. But this is a really cool change. I'm really gonna enjoy that like option that they're adding here. And lastly, at least for the Slayer changes, we have herbs. So this last change addresses a common point of frustration with loot from mid-game tasks. You've saved your points, grabbed the elusive herb sack, set out on another task, and oops, suddenly your inventory is full of noted herbs. The space-saving quality of life unlock you worked hard for isn't saving you much space at all. We'd like to make low quantities of noted herb drops unnoted so that they can easily be stacked in your trusty sack. Yeah, lovely wording. Here's a full list of creatures whose noted herbs we'd like to convert to unnoted herb drops. Keep in mind that they only drop 1 to 3 herbs at a time, so your herb sack should prove pretty useful here. So, adamant dragons, basilisk knights, fossil island wyverns, lobstrosities, ancient zygomites, shazing criminals found in the intelligence gathering activity on Kurend, lizardmen, shamans, and drakes. So basically, now they will all drop unnoted herbs, so you can put them in the herb sack instead of the noted variety. So I like this, but I think it would have made more sense if we could have put noted herbs in the herb sack on its own. Simply due to the fact that like if you don't have an herb sack yet, if you're early game, not that I guess if you're killing any of these, you're really not gonna be super early game anyway. But for those players that don't have an herb sack yet, like it'd be nice to be able to continue to stack them noted, and then when you do get an herb sack, you can just put the noted herbs in the herb sack instead of it just changing it to unnoted herbs. I do think that this is fine. Like I'm as some, I think most players have an herb sack, so it's fine. But it would be nice if you could do it the other way as well. And lastly, we have some other miscellaneous changes. So we have Golembane and Gargoyles. This one is perhaps Slayer adjacent, so it makes sense to start here. If you're wondering what on earth Golembane is, take a look at the Baronite Mace, which boasts a damage bonus against golems. Outside of free-to-play, it's not all that useful. We're looking to give those same qualities to the Granite Hammer, a 30% increase in damage against stony enemies. Naturally, you might be thinking, okay, cool, but when am I ever going to kill golems? And you're totally right, which is why we're adding more enemies into this pool, with the goal of giving the Granite Hammer use beyond training strength on a 50 attack pure. This means we'd be giving the Granite Hammer a 30% damage increase against any gargoyle by giving them the Golem tag, including Dusk, Dawn, and Superiors. This should make it a super appealing option and less of a feels bad drop from the Grotesque Guardians. Might even become your best option. So I mean they're kind of just expanding into this section of golems and the weakness that they have with the Baronite Mace and the Granite Hammer. So very niche, but cool as well. It leaves a little bit of room in the future to expand on it if they'd like. So nothing big there, but kind of cool nonetheless. Mage Training Arena, specifically Rune Pouch. And it says, had enough of the Mage Training Arena? Yeah, we didn't think so. Yeah, totally. Especially with all the quality of life improvements it received in 2024's poll 81. So yeah, if you're a big Mage Training Arena fan, here, this one's for you. If you're dreading the thought of last man standing, or if you don't want to spend hours slaying without a rune pouch, then boy, have we got a thematically appropriate change for you. For the low cost of 150 telekinetic points, graveyard points, 200 alchemy points, and 1500 enchantment points, you could be the proud owner of a brand new rune pouch. It's the same as the existing one, but this should be a nice middle ground in terms of time to obtain between LMS and Slayer while making a whole lot of sense and banking you some handy magic XP along the way. I mean, putting the rune pouch as a reward from Mage Training Arena makes a lot of sense, and it doesn't seem like it's overly expensive. So I like that change, especially sometimes you die with it in like the wilderness, or if you just happen to lose it for whatever reason. It's kind of nice that you can get it from Mage Training Arena for not all that much money. This next one, I really could see people kind of being up in arms about. But I think it's fine. I don't know. Moon keys. So before you say it, the rates on these are not bugged and have been working as intended. Now we'll say it. What we intended here was absolutely miles off what's reasonable for the combat halves. Skilling halves were more common than intended on account of shooting stars, providing them to players. We're adjusting the formula here to make the tooth half of the moon key considerably more attainable. Here's what that looks like from some more common sources. So you have a lot of current rates are like 1 in 11,000, 1 in 1,500, 500, 1 in 150, and that's basically being halved or more. I mean, from Frost Crabs, it's going from 1 in 11k to 1 in 1,400. So the moon keys are like getting the moon helmet is going to be significantly easier to get now, which some people, especially the ones that have it, might not love, but I don't think it should be that rare, even if it is kind of fun. So keep in mind that Varlamore, the Final Dawn, will feature more sources of these key halves too, which should have drop rates in line with these adjusted offerings. We're also adding the Helmet of the Moon to the collection log. It's tough to obtain, but it is a collectible, and you have every right to flex it to your friends. If you've already got one, then you'll be able to use it on the collection log item to update your log. So pretty cool. I like that they're adding it to the collection log. Some people won't like that it's becoming a lot more common than before, but it was like really, really rare. Like I think like 7,000 hours on rate. So this is a good change. Getting to the end here. This is the last thing. We have Arceuus spell tweaks. So this one's also pretty interesting. I'm going to go down just a little bit more. Sending us off are a few teeny tweaks to the rune costs of certain Arceuus spells. We reduced the fire rune cost of Demon Bane spells shortly after Yama's release, since it was a tad overbearing on extended trips. We're proposing a few more changes in a similar vein, where some rune costs are outliers in terms of progression. We're adjusting Dark Demon Bane to cost 1 Soul Rune, 4 Chaos Runes, and 7 Fire Runes. This means you're swapping a Soul Rune for Chaos Runes. Swapping a Soul Rune for Chaos Runes. These spells shine a little earlier in your journey or against Yama himself, and we felt that 2 Soul Runes was a bit much for the frequency with which you're casting these spells, especially since they require 90 runecraft to make yourself. We're also tweaking the rune cost for summoning thralls. This one is really interesting as well. Our logic here is simplifying the number of different runes you're required to bring to make the Arceuus spellbook work. We're proposing that greater resurrection spells should have their 5 blood rune costs adjusted to 4 soul runes. While this feels a little at odds with the move away from high soul rune costs for Dark Demon Bane, our rationale is that you're casting these far less often than repeated Demon Bane spells, and this alleviates some inventory pressure for proper Arceuus usage. With that, you're up to speed. Let us know what you make of this batch of proposals. It's small but mighty. If all goes smoothly, you'll see them in-game later this summer. Until next time. So the Arceuus ones, especially specifically the thralls, I quite like this. I think like most people just sit on the Arceuus spellbook nowadays, and even if you have the larger rune pouch where you can put 4 runes in your pouch, like you're still often bringing like a 5th rune or 5th type of rune, sometimes even a 6th type of rune. So adjusting it where you don't have to bring bloods and you don't have to bring bloods like at all. You can just bring soul runes. You're probably going to get away with only having to bring 4 different types of runes. Maybe sometimes 5, but typically just 4. So, and then as always, I love this about the team. Personally, it's a nice little touch, but the mods, I'll put their name at the bottom, which is definitely just a copy paste at this point, but it looks nice. And it's in alphabetical order, so that's cool. There's a lot of mods nowadays, though. It's crazy. But anyway, a lot of good changes. I think the Thrall one down here is a lot of fun. That's gonna be interesting to see like how that affects different like rune setups when you're going on bossing trips. Other than that, like the miscellaneous changes are really quite minor. A lot of good Slayer differences or Slayer changes. I specifically the dragon one in this section here. I really think that that's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a lot different, but in kind of the best way possible. So Slayer itself is changing forever in a sense. This being able to block tasks before you even get them is crazy to me. I think that's gonna be really interesting, and definitely go prep your Slayer points now, guys. Like, I mean, maybe don't because you can just block the bad stuff on tutorial skipping if you don't want to do that. So I don't know, but if you want to prep for it, go grind out a bunch of reward points so you can set up your block lists once this releases, because it's gonna be a lot of fun. But anyway, again, it's been a while. It's nice to make another one of these. We're only a few days away from the release of Barlamore Part 3. Comes out in just 4 days. Very excited for that. Definitely going to be doing some videos for the Doom of Macchiato and maybe even the Gemstone Crab, because that's going to be an interesting little AFK boss that they're adding. So, but if you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, throw a subscription. I would love to talk to you guys in the comments as well if you'd like to comment what you think of the new changes. And if you really like my stuff, throw notifications on, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.